say, well, why do I want to send a sort of hand-drawn picture of a bicycle around the world? Really, this could be any of our meeting notes, exactly comparable to a whiteboard in a meeting.
That's exactly right. It could be any graphic. It can be graphics copied out
text, bullet points, things like that.
Any paint program, and so forth.
Okay. Now, you also ship with Enhanced CUC-Me a phone book that's got some addresses already in it. Why don't you show us what that's about?
Well, the addresses that come predefined here are for various reflectors that are set up at various places such as NASA TV, where people can view the shuttle launches.
Oh, okay.
Or the Goddard Space Flight Center. Or Cornell University maintains a reflector, as do we.
And if there are people that you want to regularly connect to, you could add those to your phone book
Exactly.
as well.
And it's as simple as just putting their TCP/IP address in there.
Okay, now speaking of phone and connections, we're on a LAN right now. If we had a dedicated connection to the internet, we'd be doing pretty well as well. What if somebody's connecting over a modem? What can they reasonably expect as far as performance?
Well, a minimum of a 28.8 baud modem would be required for video
to see the video.
But a 14.4 supports audio and all the other collaboration elements of CUC-Me.
So if we want to use all the elements, all the full power of Enhanced CUC-Me, we're going to need a powerful connection.
Right, a minimum of 28.8.
And then just a standard video input device to connect
Any
with.
AV-ready PC or Macintosh. And that's another point, too, about Enhanced CUC-Me. It's the ability to connect between Macintoshes and PCs.
So that Scott could be on a Mac or on a PC or even on a Unix machine.
Exactly.
Great. Well, this is Enhanced CUC-Me from White Pine Software. Thank you very much, Steve. And thank you, Scott, for showing it to us today.
Okay, thank you.
Now we're going to look at Telework 5 from Vivo Software. We're going to be using an ISDN line for this one, and H. Bondar from Vivo joins us now to explain the benefits. H, welcome. Who exactly would sort of take advantage of the Telework 5 system using an ISDN line?
Well, the small office or home office worker who wants to get the most bang for the buck out of their ISDN connection because...
So if they already have like an ISDN line set up, maybe for internet access, maybe for remote, for telecommuting, this is another way they can take advantage of it.
Exactly. Our system pulls all that together.
Now, the Telework system is really software, but you do bundle it with some hardware here. Here we have this rather futuristic-looking camera. Why don't you tell us quickly about that?
Right. This camera is made by Logitech, and it's won some design awards, and it connects to a video capture card that's in the machine, and the other card is an ISDN card made by IBM called the Wave Runner, and that's a general-purpose ISDN connection. So our software does all the H320 compression and decompression and pulls all these pieces of off-the-shelf hardware together.
Now, when you say off-the-shelf, I mean, in this case, these come bundled with the system. And when you say H320, we're talking about a video conferencing standard which is pretty widespread amongst different video conferencing systems.
Right.
So the person on the other end doesn't have to have this exact same setup.
Right. They can all talk to each other.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get on the screen here and see how we can use it.
Okay, well, you know, the home office worker wants to stay in touch with the people back at work.
Sure.
So we're going to dial Anne-Marie back at the office with this video business card that I have specified for her.
Okay.
And we're placing our ISDN call. It's two 64-bit channels stuck together for 128 kilobit bandwidth.
So it's like having a 128,000 baud modem that's dedicated digital speed.
Exactly.
Excellent. And here she comes. This is Anne-Marie. Hello, Anne-Marie. Welcome.
Thank you.
And one of the things I'm noticing right away is that we've got a pretty big screen here. It's a bigger video screen than I'm used to seeing with some video conferencing systems, and very fast frame rate. What is this a result of?
Well, the video frame rate is a result of the speed of the Pentium processor that we're running on here.
Right. And
the faster of a computer you use, the better the frame rate's going to be.
Excellent. Okay, now we can obviously Anne-Marie's live here. We can talk to her, we can interact, but there are other collaboration tools I know you've got built into the software. We saw Whiteboard earlier. What other sorts of things could we do to interact with Anne-Marie to collaborate with her on projects?
Well, she could send us a file of something that she was working on, a document or something like that. Why don't you do that, Anne-Marie?
Okay, great. So I'll just, from the file manager, choose the word processing document and send it over to you. So you can have a copy of that file. And I do that just by dragging the file over and dropping it right on your picture, so it's real easy. So it's on its way.
And now we have a status bar on this end, which indicates how much of the document has arrived. So this is all happening even while we're having our video conference connection.
Exactly.
Sending data over the same connection.
Right, and we can send data at up to 64 kilobits a second, which is more than twice as fast as the fastest modem you can get while we're having a video call.
You've also got a cool screen sharing sort of function. Why don't you show us how that works?
Okay, with this feature called Screen View, I can show Anne-Marie any piece of my screen by defining a region. And now when I say OK, the area enclosed by these rectangles is what Anne-Marie's going to see. And our little local viewer down here shows us what she's seeing. So if I put my mouse in there, she sees my mouse moving around, and if I highlight something, she'll see that. So it's a great training tool, and it's a great remote presentation tool.
Okay, now we've seen how we can use it to sort of collaborate with other workers, and we talked about transferring data. Let's talk about the other data aspect in terms of the fact that we can actually use the same system to connect directly to the internet through our internet service provider.
Right, okay, bye Anne-Marie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. We hang up with Anne-Marie and we'll shut down our video conferencing application, and then we'll place an ISDN phone call to our internet service provider. And once this is connected, we can bring up our web browser and we'll be surfing the web at ISDN speeds.
So we could be surfing the web, but we could also be doing a number of other internet activities, maybe downloading a file from some FTP site or something like that.
Exactly, or connecting to the corporate LAN from home, which is a great home office
Telecommuting.
application.
Well, I think the point to be illustrated here is that all these different activities that we can be doing with our ISDN line are actually handled quite nicely and invisibly by the telework panel that you were just clicking on there.
Right, it's the umbrella that brings it all together.
Great, well, this is Telework 5 from Vivo Software. Thank you very much, H, for showing it to us.
Thanks for having me.
When we return, we'll see video conferencing using Apple's QuickTime. Stay right there. When Apple's QuickTime software debuted in the early 90s, it turned multimedia from a pipe dream into a reality. The recent release of QuickTime Conferencing may have just the same effect on desktop video conferencing. Ken Tom of Apple is here now to show it off. Ken, welcome.
Charles, thanks.
Where exactly does QuickTime Conferencing fit in with the whole QuickTime scheme?
QuickTime Conferencing is built on top of QuickTime. It's architected from the ground up to be scalable and to be an open architecture. What that means, open architecture means that we can put in any other industry standards or de facto standards as they become established.
Okay.
Scalable means it works on both today's high-end Macs as well as older Macs and the Pippin device.
So any machine that can currently run QuickTime would probably be able to address some of the features.
Correct. If you want to have a camera hooked up to it, it has to be an AV Macintosh.
Oh, okay, it has to be AV. Okay, now another thing you mentioned, you've got an API so that other programmers, other developers can incorporate QuickTime Conferencing into their software.
Yes, it's an open API, so it's basically a very easy task for them to just plug in the capabilities of QuickTime Conferencing and have them work in their application.
Okay, now apart from having to have an AV Mac, you might want to get the QuickTime Conferencing Kit. This is, you bundle the software along with a camera, the necessary camera.
Yeah, there's a CD in there and a high-quality color camera and the cables to hook up to an AV Mac.
Great, well, we've got it all hooked up right now, and we're talking to a colleague of yours, John, out in California. Hello, John, welcome.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Let's see, we've got some high frame rate video here. Looks very smooth. We can see the shot of you, our local video up in the upper corner here. What else can we do?
Well, for example, the local view here can be moved into the different quadrants of the picture, or we can turn it off altogether so that we can see the complete picture. We can also make the remote view larger or smaller if we wish.
Right.
And of course, there's the shared whiteboard, so we can send documents, sounds, graphics, whatever, back and forth, even screenshots.
Again, useful for multiple multiple people meetings and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, QuickTime Conferencing supports point-to-point, multi-point, and broadcast. So point-to-point is one Mac to another Mac. It can be multiple people in front of the cameras. Multi-point is 3 or more, and I would see 3 of the remote views in here. And broadcast is when you have one sender sending to many receivers, but just over one video stream.
And I think there's something interesting that comes about. You've got a feature in here, I think it's called something like the conversation movie or the conversation window.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Basically, any conference that you have, you can record. You just hit the record button,
Right.
which is right down here, and the other parties have to say, yes, it's okay to record. And then it records a QuickTime movie for you to view later. And it will record both of you as well as any additional conferees who are in the conference.
I see. Okay, so in this case, we're using this is the QuickTime conferencing software. We're talking with John. John could send us files, send us stuff to look at over the shared whiteboard. But tell us a little bit about the the broadcast aspect of it, if you wanted to just send some video to a lot of people?
Yeah, broadcast works over the LAN, such as Ethernet, and over the internet. And we're getting into something that we're calling a webcast, where basically you go to a website, download even some free viewer software, and then one entity can send to many viewers. We recently webcasted the Grammys, where we were behind the scenes, backstage at the Grammys, showing the artists before they arrived, even a couple days before, so you could see them doing their warm-ups. And during the show, after they got their awards, they would come by and be interviewed backstage, all over QuickTime Conferencing, available around the world for anybody who had a high-speed internet connection.
Now, this brings up the loaded question of the day. I mean, right now we're working with an ISDN line, so we've got really nice frame rate and everything, but when we talk about doing this over the internet, things slow down a little bit. What would a person have to have as far as a connection to be able to reasonably use QuickTime Conferencing?
Basically, from a campus connection where they have a T1 line, so they have a high-speed internet connection, that's fine.
Right.
Okay, so you need a high-speed internet connection now. But with the next version of QuickTime Conferencing coming later in the spring, you'll be able to do audio conferencing and collaboration over 28.8 modems.
Wow, okay.
With video coming in the fall.
Great. Well, this is QuickTime Conferencing. In this case, the QuickTime Conferencing Kit. We're talking to John. John, we didn't let you do much talking out there, but...
Well, I could send you an update on the products we're offering, or give you a map of the world to show you our next steps for expanding
we'll have
out.
to stick around for that later. Thank you. But anyway, QuickTime Conferencing Kit from Apple builds on the existing QuickTime structure, but from the ground up to attach itself to a number of video conferencing standards that are already out there, scalable to any size, and also the open API so that people can incorporate into their own software.
And free software with less functionality available on our webpage, which is qtc.quicktime.apple.com, as well as purchasing software on the web at $59.95 if you want the full featured version.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
And thank you, John.
Thank you, Giles.
Talk to you soon. Rounding out our look at desktop video conferencing systems is the Eris from RSI Systems. Doug Clapp of RSI Systems is here now to demonstrate. Doug, welcome.
Thank you, Giles.
Now, we've looked at a number of video conferencing solutions today, and each one has some form of video conferencing, some form of collaboration. What would you say sets the Eris system apart?
The thing about Eris that is most unique, Giles, is that it's a completely self-contained peripheral. You've looked at a number of systems today for Windows, for Macintosh, and they're all some sort of combination of hardware and software. But the thing they all have in common is you have to put cards in your computer, and that's very hard for most people to do. Some computers don't have the slots for it. It means that you can only work on one platform. What we've done with Eris is put everything in a single peripheral.
Now, that's what we're seeing right
So
here.
we've got a portable system here that works with any Macintosh, with any Windows machine. It'll work with a notebook or an Apple PowerBook.
Right.
And all the compression, all the audio, video, everything is self-contained right in that box.
Now, when you bring the audio and the video into this device, as opposed to calling on the computer CPU, you actually take a big load off of
Oh,
the
you really
CPU.
do, Giles. And it means you can use it. You don't need a power PC. You don't need the newest Pentium computer. The computer you already have will work fine. Just plug it in and go.
Okay, so we've got this today connected to a Macintosh, and we've got a camera du jour over here. What is this?
This is a Video Labs camera, but you can plug any camera into the system at all. It accepts 2 camera inputs and 1 camera output. You can use NTSC standard camera like a camcorder, or you could use an S-video camera for higher video quality. And if you want, you could even plug in a VCR and play someone a VCR tape and talk over it, or you could plug in a VCR for output and record both sides of a conversation simultaneously.
Yeah, I wish we could turn this around. We can't because of all the things plugged into it, but we've got a plethora of jacks and options on the back.
You really do, and many of them are optional. Basically, you plug in your power cord, your ISDN phone line, and a camera. There's a microphone built in here. Full duplex speakerphone is built in, but optionally you can plug in external speakers, external microphones. So if you'd like, you can really configure this either as a desktop personal video conferencing system, or as something that will equal a more expensive rollabout system with big monitors, speakers, and cameras.
Okay, now with the simplicity of setup, we can just plug in our main components and we're ready to go. We've also got a pretty straightforward interface here, and we've also got your friend Mike on the camera waiting patiently for us here. Hello, Mike. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I can.
We're seeing your video signal in the bottom corner here, what we call the local video.
Yes, this is a picture-in-picture display that can be moved around or resized any way we like it to be.
Now, what about Mike's window? Can we resize him?
Oh, sure. There's standards in video conferencing which are very important, and this is the most standard system, so you can talk to any other system. Some of the video standards are what's called a QSIF window, which is this size, or a SIF window, which is this size, or with ARIS you can also go up to full screen easily, or you can resize the window any way you'd like to.
Okay. This is pretty straightforward. And now at this point, we're just talking to Mike and looking at Mike, but we do have some of the collaboration type schemes that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah, like you've seen on other systems, we will let you share the contents of any window on your computer, or if you'd like, the entire monitor contents. And of course, you can transfer files back and forth at the same time. And another nice thing, Giles, is that all the features are cross-platform. So you can be on a Mac and I can have a Windows machine. We can still share information, transfer files, and video conference.
Okay. Now, right now we've got this connected to an ISDN line.
Yes.
So we're getting some really good speeds, and we're getting really nice frame rates and good, clear video here.
Right.
What other sort of options do we have? And this is primarily for ISDN, correct?
Yes, it is. We'll be coming out with versions later on this year that also do higher speeds for even better video, and also standard phone lines.
So actually using it over POTS, as they call it, plain old telephone service.
Telephone service.
Okay, and so basically we've got a system here that's all self-contained. We could plug it into one machine, a Mac.
Yes.
We could unplug it, carry it to another room, plug it into a Windows machine if we wanted to, because all of the compression, decompression, all of the sound and video handling is actually on board this. We don't have to get in.
That's
and,
right.
And unless we already have built-in video and ISDN in another machine, we would have to we'd have to take apart and install cards. With this, we don't.
Right. You never have to install cards, and you can take it on the road, you can take it home, you can bring it to work. It's just a very simple system to use.
Great. This is the ARIS Systems from RSI System. Thank you very much, Doug, for sharing.
Thank you, Giles.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Can he hear us?
Thanks.
He can hear us.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Thanks again. That's all the time we have for our look at desktop video conferencing. I invite your feedback via email. My address is giles@pctv.com. Thanks for joining our users group. I'm Giles Bateman, and we'll meet again.
Check out our website at www.pctv.com.